Good evening, everyone. The Finance and Investment Cell of Shri College of Commerce welcomes you to today's session of Shri Financial Forum. We are honored to have among us esteemed speaker, Mr. Narayana Murthy. We also welcome our respected principal, Professor Simrat Kaur, faculty advisor of FIC SRCC, Ms. Saroj Joshi, along with all the other faculty members and participants present. A little bit about Mr. Murthy. Mr. Murthy founded Infosys in 1981. Infosys is today a highly innovative software services global company located in Pune and listed on the New York Stock Exchange as well as the Bombay Stock Exchange with over $12 billion in revenue and about $57 billion in market capitalization. Under Sir's leadership, Infosys became the leader in innovation in technical, software technology, as well as physical and technological infrastructure. Mr. Murthy has received the prestigious Legion of Honor, CBE, and Padma Vibhushan. The Economist ranked him among the top 10 most admired global business leaders. Currently, he serves on the board of the Institute of Advanced Study at Princeton and the United Nations Foundation. He's also served on the boards of Ford Foundation in New York, along with HSBC and Unilever in London. Sir is also a member of the advisory board of University of Tokyo, ESSEC Business School, and IESE Business School in Spain. He has also served on the international advisory board of Yale University, Singapore Management University, INSEAD, and many other prestigious institutions. Mr. Murthy's list of accolades portrays an endless journey of wisdom and application. Now, I would like to invite our principal, Professor Simrat Kaur, to welcome Sir.
Very hearty welcome, Mr. Narayana Murthy, to Shri College of Commerce. We are indeed privileged, sir, to have you interact with our students at the college. They have all been so excited and delighted, and equally a pleasure and a privilege for myself also to be interacting with you on this particular forum. I think, sir, your own biodata and CV is such that no words can ever make it complete. There is much more to you, sir, and I have often been a great admirer that the personality and the person that you are, sir, I think that is multifold of what can be written on the paper. So I am actually grateful to this society for giving me an opportunity to be with sir on this particular platform, which has been organized by the Finance and Investment Cell. If there are certain things which go along with Mr. Narayana Murthy and the country remembers him with our, first of all, reimagining India in the form of an IT service hub. This is altogether a new directional change which Indian economic growth path took. Services were never at the forefront until Mr. Narayana Murthy through Infosys information system, we realized our potential in this particular area. And the kind of competition and productivity the IT sector enabled India to become and come on the global map in terms of being a superpower and an economic power largely emerges from India's role in the services sector. Very closely associated with the IT revolution, which was actually the third industrial revolution, is the present industrial revolution, which we call as Industry 4. An extension of the same services which Sir had brought in along with his heart and hard work is the kind of Internet of Things, big data, 3D printing, machine learning, artificial intelligence. Nothing of this would have been possible if the services revolution in the IT had not taken place in the 80s and the 90s. Associated also with Sir's interaction with the services industry are aspects of corporate governance and transparency and ethics in the business environment. And we all know Sir's immense work in this area of institution building through effective corporate governance. Equally important is Sir's attitude towards inclusiveness. And if you look up his own observations on the CEO compensation, it is so humbling to know, sir, that at times when some of the CEOs are being paid in extremely large numbers, the envision that you have for the highest level a CEO should get vis-a-vis the worker who's getting it at the lowest level, sir, speaks volumes of the depth of your heart and humanity. Sir, we are very sure under your guidance and your mentorship that you have provided to the Indian economy, India in its current role of digital revolution on account of Industry 4 will take forward India in domains, and we will also be able to address the concerns of sustainability of growth through services vis-a-vis manufacturing, which often even you have said what is the best job enabler in the present current scenario. Once again, sir, a very warm welcome from Shri Ram College of Commerce. Thank you so much for being with us. And I look forward to all your questions and answers with great enthusiasm. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words, ma'am. It's a pleasure to host you. Now, without further ado, we'll begin the session, which will be moderated by a member of FIC, Vidya Shriram.
Good evening, sir. We are eagerly awaiting to listen to you. Before that, I'll take out a moment to brief the participants about the event that is to unfold. We have received an overwhelming response and multiple questions were asked through the registration forms that we had sent out. And we have handpicked the most asked questions out of the lot. So, sir, I'll go ahead and start with it. The first one was, this year's budget allocated 8,000 crore INR for the development of quantum computers. Do you think this allocation is enough for the development of in-house quantum computers in India? And apart from this, what is your take on how India can win this global race of quantum computers?
First of all, I'm extremely grateful to your principal. I am very grateful to the president and you for this kindness in making me a part of the deliberations today. The biggest asset that India has is the power of its youth. It is people like you that makes us confident that the future of this country is safe. Therefore, please accept my sincere thanks to everybody assembled in the cloud today for this opportunity. Now let me come to your question. I believe that the main ingredient for advances in science and technology is the number of high quality minds that we can bring to focus on a given problem. The kind of bureaucratic hassle-free environment that we can create, the kind of teamwork that is possible in this country, and the kind of encouragement we give to our scientists in this country. We need people who can think out of the box and find solutions. It requires our institutions of advanced science and technology to inculcate proactive problem definition and problem solving than just reactive problem solving. There's a lot of work to do in that direction. We have to form a team, a virtual team of researchers across the entire country who will come out with a master plan to develop a quantum computer, who will split the big problem into several smaller sub-problems, who will assign a competent team to address each of these sub-problems, who will learn from other nations who are ahead of us in this problem-solving exercise, and who will work together as a harmonious and egoless team to achieve the objective. Somehow, from time immemorial, our culture has not encouraged teamwork. It has not encouraged subordinating our egos. It has not encouraged learning from each other. And it has not encouraged sharing our knowledge with others. Even in our workplace, there is no premium placed on teamwork. Our team should work like a symphony where 100 or more highly accomplished players of piano, violin, cello, viola, harpsichord, and other instruments come together as a team, work under the direction of a conductor, and produce something divine. The nearest teamwork that we Indians can come to is a jugalbandi, where each of the two players tries to show that he or she is better than the other. These cultural impediments will therefore have to be overcome by our young researchers if we have to solve big problems. Second, rupees 8,000 crores is not a small sum. ISRO has had a record of sending a rocket to moon and Mars at a small fraction of what it costs in the US. Costs are low in India. If we improve our education system and our culture, I believe that we can make tremendous advances in science and technology with this kind of money.
Definitely, sir. Quantum computers are basically called the holy grail in information technology. And considering India doesn't want to lose out on the race, but often, like you said, multiple spheres like teamwork and problem solving often go undermined. So that is something our country definitely has to work upon. I'll move on to the next question, sir. Seeing how countries like China have started engaging in cyber warfare, what should India do to promote the network of cybersecurity studies in the country or create opportunities for people to work in India for the same?
Vidya, by and large, what I said earlier holds good even here. Cyber warfare is a big technological issue and has tremendous impact on the industry, on educational institutions, on the civil society, on the military, and on the government. The progress of a team, as you know, is determined by the slowest player in the team. This is why we have to bring speed to these nationally important projects by enhancing speed and accountability in our government partners in such a team effort. Like in the US, I believe that the private sector has to play a critical role in this task. I'll stop here.
Yes, sir. So all institutions have to come together in harmony in order for us to see a brighter day. Um, Also, sir, so US has had over 2/3 of shares in the share in the IT exports of India, amounting to over 5% of the total GDP of the country. However, as we have seen over the past few years, the American economy is very susceptible to shocks. What can India, both the private and the public sector, do to safeguard the IT sector from the ripple effects of such shocks?
Vidya, we must accept that competition is the biggest factor that impacts our success in a market. Since the IT export companies operate in the global markets dominated by companies from developed countries, our companies will have to benchmark and differentiate themselves vis-a-vis the best global players and create next practices in R&D, speed, quality, and work productivity to provide better value for money to our customers. As students of economics, you know that price is what you pay and what value is what you get. Therefore, the Indian companies will have to focus on enhancing the value we deliver to our customers per dollar of price that we charge. If we have to remain attractive to our customers in advanced markets, I believe that this is the biggest insurance we have against any competition. That is, as long as we increase value divided by price compared to any of our competitors, I believe that our success is assured. This requires us to create an environment of openness to new ideas, meritocracy, speed, imagination, and excellence in execution. We have to, as I said before, move from being reactive problem solvers to proactive problem definers. At the national level, we have to improve the quality of our education system. We have to focus on improving the quality of English education, which is going down very fast every year. We have to enhance interaction with well-known universities in advanced countries. We have to welcome globally respected universities to come and operate here. We are short of qualified people per 100,000 of population in this country. There should be a national program to send about 10,000 bright and merited students to good universities in developed countries to obtain their PhDs in science and technology, come back to India and add value to our country. This obviously is in addition to the bright students who do PhDs in India. We have to be open-minded to accept that we have to improve a lot, and we must be ready to learn from countries that have done better than us. This is where I will stop.
Agreed, sir. Definitely. As the youth of the country, better education and skill development is something that all of us at large should be working towards and should be trying to achieve. I'll move on to the next question, sir. How has the startup environment changed since the time you decided to develop Infosys 40 years later? How do you think the environment is today?
Well, Vidya, those days, our governments at the center and the state were the main inhibitors to India's economic growth. It used to take 50 visits to Delhi and 3 years to get a license to import a $50,000 or approximately about 40 lakhs of computing equipment. Banks had not even heard of the software industry. There was no venture capital system available. There was no current account convertibility. We had to apply to RBI and wait 15 to 20 days to even travel abroad for a single day, let alone digital communication facilities that we have in plenty today. We had to wait for 7 years to get a telephone connection. I can go on and on and on. But today, these problems do not exist. Thanks to the liberalization effort of 1991, set in motion under the direction of our former Prime Minister, Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao, and led by Dr. Manmohan Singh, Shri Montek Singh Ahluwalia, Shri Chidambaram, and others. Market competition has become the primary determinant for success today. Today, your idea must bring a differentiated business value proposition to succeed in the market. So idea has become the main differentiator. The quality of human mind is therefore the differentiator. Talent is in extreme short supply in India. Finding professionals with the ability to speak and write reasonably good English is a big problem in India today. The quality of our higher education, as I spoke before, is another big problem. I will stop here.
Yes, sir, we've definitely come a long way since then, how you describe that environment, but definitely we have a long way to go as well. I mean, with the world revolving around big data, artificial intelligence, cloud communication, the future of IT industry is indeed a lot to look forward to.
Yep.
Moving on to the next question, sir. How can India establish itself as a key player when companies are looking to move out of China and set up shop elsewhere?
Yeah. Vidya, it is a well-proven fact that national pride, genuine interest in improving the prosperity of citizens, fairness, transparency, and speed of decision making are important attributes of any government that is truly interested in making the country stronger. According to experts, lack of the first two attributes, that is national pride and genuine interest in improving the prosperity of citizens, they result in indifference and apathy. The experts also say that lack of the last three attributes, which is fairness, transparency, and speed of decision making, they come from lack of accountability. They come from a mindset of corruption. They come from a disrespect for citizens. They come from a sense of insecurity and inferiority resulting from the fear of Indian and foreign businessmen. Those countries that have overcome these negative attributes have either gone on to become developed nations or have improved their per capita GDP in a stunning manner and reduced their poverty significantly. Let me give you my personal experience of a country that has developed extremely fast in both exports and in creating jobs. It was in 2003. Probably many of you youngsters were not born at that time. It was in 2003 that I went to this country to evaluate the possibility of starting a development center there. This country has had a stellar record during the last 30 to 40 years of creating lots of jobs for their citizens and increasing their foreign exchange reserves. There may be some lessons for India to learn from their experience and make our country even better from such examples of attracting investments and creating jobs. I was told by the governors of provinces in that country that they had just two KPIs for industrial development, that is, key performance indicators for industrial development. These KPIs were the targets for incremental annual export measured in US dollar from that province. And the second KPI was the number of additional jobs or incremental jobs created each year in the province. I got the impression that these governors were fully empowered. I met several mayors and governors in several major cities in that country during that trip. I found them to be well educated, competent, and they could hold good quality business conversations with foreign business leaders through interpreters, of course. My own meeting with the mayor of a major city in that country in 2003 was a revelation of how focused that country was on the speed of approvals. I met the mayor for breakfast at 9 a.m. on a certain day in his most impressive official residence. That afternoon, we were shown 3 excellent pieces of land. We chose a prime piece of land of 25 acres in the city, prime part of the city, by 5 p.m. that evening. The allotment letter was given to us by the mayor by 4 p.m. the next day. We did not have to run from pillar to post for years to obtain the land. When asked, these politicians told me that this kind of good governance happened because their system allowed competent and well-educated people to come up in politics, even at the level of provinces. They told me that competence and accomplishments were the 2 most important criteria in that country for occupying political office, even at the level of a province. They were fully empowered. I found that the bureaucrats were respectful, very competent, and were genuinely interested in the economic progress of their country. They had proper data available and they took quick decisions. When asked how they were chosen, they told me that they were chosen on merit. The result was I did not have to go through years and years of fruitless meetings to obtain this piece of land. There was water, electricity, and very good public transport system available to the land side that was to be allotted to us. Our plans were approved in less than a month of our submission, even though the construction frenzy in that city was at its highest. We did not face any corruption. I found the same story of enthusiastic welcome, courtesy, lack of corruption, competence, desire to create jobs, and speed of approvals when Infosys started its operations in Singapore, Australia, the US, the UK, Holland, Canada, and Brazil, just to name a few countries. What was common to all these countries that have made spectacular progress in attracting foreign investment? That is the question that I asked. My answer is that they were genuinely desirous that the country should attract investments and create jobs for their citizens and permanent residents. Their attitude translated to courteous, enthusiastic, and welcoming interactions, timely approval by fully empowered regulatory authority, solutions from the competent bureaucrats to our letters seeking approvals and clarifications. The life of foreigners who were deputed by Infosys to these countries was comfortable. Running of our businesses there was easy, comfortable, and productive, and producing our products was more advantageous to us in these countries than in neighboring countries. The primary focus of the governments of these countries was on creating a large number of jobs with good incomes. I will stop here.
Yes, sir. India definitely, as you said, there are, but it's not just this, right? It's an institutional change in terms of transparency, accountability, lesser corruption, and particularly, like you said, learning from better precedents that other countries and institutions have set as well.
Please remember that I did not mention India at all.
Yes, sir.
I only mentioned the countries abroad, the countries that Infosys has established outside India. So I'm only talking about those countries that have created lots of jobs, those countries that have enhanced their exports. So I did not make any mention of India, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll move on to the next question. Sir, what are some parameters that you look forward to when partnering up with other companies, such as GE?
So we meant G.
Yes, sir.
Not we do not partner with Amazon. Associated with a respectable partner is extremely important for us. We want our partner to bring complementary strengths to the table. We focus on companies that bring innovative ideas and differentiated business value to India and Indian residents. We want these companies to bring the most advanced technology to India. We want them to be genuinely interested in enhancing the economic growth of India. We want to learn from them and add value to them through our experience of running a respected business in India. We want these companies to use assistive technologies like artificial intelligence, create more and more jobs, and make these jobs highly productive and well paid, even though they use technology.
Yes, sir. It's actually insightful to know the practical points of it, considering how experienced you are. Also, sir, considering SMBs are in a state of turmoil due to COVID-19, how is Prion going to act as a catalyst to adapt to the prevailing business environment?
One of the objectives of Amazon and Prion is to help hundreds of thousands of SMEs, small and medium enterprises, get onto the Amazon marketplace, benefit from the advanced assistive technology that Amazon provides, and create lots of jobs. I personally am a great votary of creating lots of jobs because that is the only way you can solve the problem of poverty in India. These days, as you know, our economy has shrunk. There is huge unemployment thanks to COVID-19. Therefore, the disposable income has shrunk. There is intense pressure to provide better value for money to consumers by our companies. So we are focusing on products that bring maximum value for money. We are focusing on reducing the operational costs by concepts like just-in-time and by reducing indirect and fixed costs. As you know, with your being a student of economics and commerce, that every corporation must try to reduce its fixed costs. Every corporation must try to reduce its indirect costs. This is where I will stop.
Yes, sir, definitely. That creating a community which actively includes such sellers will be something that will be truly beneficial for the economy. So what is the short and long-term effect of brain drain on the future of the IT industry in India?
Well, the better question would be whether brain drain is bad. And well, today we live in a globalized world. We operate as a global village. India has to become an active and regulation system of the global trading system. Therefore, there is an increased need for interaction between scientists and engineers on the one hand, and between the thought leaders and the corporate leaders in India and those abroad. One easy way of doing it is to have a small percentage of competent Indian engineers, scientists, economists, commerce specialists, corporate leaders, politicians, bureaucrats, civil society leaders, etc., to encourage them to contribute to India through the exchange of ideas. I do not see any issue with a small percentage of bright Indians going abroad for higher education, for succeeding there, for taking up jobs abroad, and for operating as model citizens of that society. I am not sure if the Indian government can force Indian students who go abroad for higher education to return. There are lots of constraints for Indians abroad to return after staying for some years in developed countries. That's a reality. These constraints are challenging job opportunities, suitable housing, clean air, clean water, job opportunities, and safety for working spouses, and easy commuting, just to name a few. The best solution for these problems is to try to make India attractive enough to Indian students abroad to return. Nehru did that to a certain extent. Every one of my teachers at IIT Kanpur in the 60s was a bright, young, and enthusiastic professor who had gotten his or her PhD from a well-known US or UK university. Therefore, we should prepare a plan to incentivize our students to stay back in our country for higher education. The most important action is to enhance the quality of our higher educational institution. We can do that by creating an environment in our higher educational institutions like the one in developed nations. Collaboration with good academic institutions in developed nations, making it easy for foreign universities to start operations here, freedom to invite academicians from developed nations, and for our own people to visit them abroad. No interference in these institutions, good bank loan schemes, fees in a fair and transparent manner, no restrictions on reasonable salaries for professor staff, starting good quality secondary school on remote campuses for the children of faculty and staff, and a good and attractive retirement plan, higher educational institution, so many rupees per student per year, and leave it alone or leave it free. There should be no other control on them. We can learn this from Singapore. Singapore has done such a thing. If we did all of these, I am sure most of the students would pursue their higher studies in India, and those students who have gone abroad for higher education would return to India to work in our higher educational institutions. Every NRI that I know, without exception, wishes well for India and he or she wants to add value to India. Similarly, we should make the quality of life better for all Indians by ensuring clean air, clean water, uninterrupted electricity, easy commuting, good and inexpensive hospitals, good English medium schools, and better colleges. We should make jobs in the government much more citizen oriented by reducing corruption and bringing accountability and transparency. Our judicial system has to work better and faster. Then I am sure that every Indian would want to see. In the end, our aspiration should be that the to apply for green cards and for citizenship in India. I'll stop here.
Agreed, sir. That gives us a much more comprehensive idea as to how to look at this phenomenon that is occurring in our country as well as institutions in India. And in the course of a very short time, it has risen to the top. How do you account for this?
Vidya, thank you very much for your kind words. Right from the first day of our existence, we focused on respect for the company and for us, the founders, from every stakeholder, that is customers, employees, investors, vendor partners, government of the land, and the society. You gain respect from adopting good values and making the life of these stakeholders better. Second, we benchmark with the best global companies in every area of our operation. Sales, finance, HR, education and training, software development, and even in facilities. Third, we focused on the best precision that addresses the basic needs of the poorest of the poor. Fifth, Infosys leaders lead by example or led by example in practicing good values like sacrifice, austerity, honesty, integrity, transparency, fairness, customer focus, and excellence in execution. We put into practice adages like, in God we trust, everybody else brings data to the table. Second, under promise and over deliver. Third, when in doubt, disclose. And fourth, let the good news take the stairs, but ensure that the bad news always takes the elevator. I'll stop here.
That's actually it's indeed a remarkable inspiration to all of us, and a journey that the entire nation looks back to with utmost pride and looks forward to as well. Also, sir, globalization has become a very contested word, and a lot of people are turning anti-globalization. So do you believe that there will be a change in trade practices in the post-pandemic world?
Vidya, globalization is necessary to succeed in a highly integrated world of today. I define globalization as sourcing capital from where it is cheapest, sourcing talent from where it is best available, producing where it is most cost effective, and selling where the markets exist without being constrained by national boundaries. This will only work in a world where every country has a certain comparative advantage as defined by David Ricardo 200 plus years ago. You have read it, so you have read this in your economics course, so I don't need to tell you this. You know better than I do. In addition, every country must be able to export enough to import what it issues. However, some economically powerful countries that have lost their competitive advantage have started resorting to nationalism. This is a losing game according to experts. To me, self-sufficiency is not to produce everything in a country. It is to determine the areas of competitive advantage or comparative advantage for our country, innovate, work hard, improve quality and work productivity, and export enough in our areas of strength so that we can import the best products at the best prices from the global market. I believe that globalization will continue to succeed since it is built on a strong theoretical framework. I'll stop here.
That's very true, sir. I'll move on to the next question. How does India establish its dominance as a key supply chain player in the post-COVID world?
In some sense, I have already addressed this. However, I will add some words. Unfortunately, it is primarily the urban Indians like you and me who can create competitive advantage for India in the global supply chains. Therefore, the need of the hour is to strengthen, as you said before, urban infrastructure, reduce bureaucratic delay, make life of expats and urban dwelling Indians easier by focusing on better English medium languages, providing better hospitals, safer cities, good roads, good parks, easier commuting, clean air, clean water, uninterrupted electric supply, restaurants with multinational cuisine, and good quality environment. If we did all of these, then I believe we have a reasonable chance to become a significant player in the global supply chain. I will stop here. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So the last question we have was a highly common one in most of the forms that we received, and that is how can we as a country harness the potential to become the outsourcing hub of the world?
Again, Vidya, I think in some way I have addressed this, but I will add a few sentences. Better quality of education in computer science, a focus on proactive problem definition rather than just reactive problem solving, better English medium schools, better international airport connectivity, and jobs for spouses are necessary condition in addition to other requirements I have mentioned in my answer to the previous questions. I will stop here.
Thank you so much, sir. That would be all the questions that we commonly handpicked out of the registration forms that we received. And I'm sure all of us have been enlightened with your kind words regarding all the questions that you have answered so far.
Yeah, I have a small request. I have sent you a video.
Yes, sir.
You know, when I was in, as you will not know, you were not born there. It was in 1961 that the film Ganga Jamuna was released. And that year I was in my pre-university. And we asked our Sanskrit professor what advice he had for us. At the end of the year, we gave a farewell party to our teachers. And those days, they were all LPs. You know, there was no modern gadgets. So he had bought the LP of this song, and he said, I don't want to give a lecture. I will just play this song. So therefore, in addition to all the things that I have spoken, I just want to play this song because that song has an extraordinary message for every one of you, because you are the future of India. You are going to build India. You're going to make India a country that we will all be proud of. So would you kindly play that video for me?
Sure, sir, most definitely. I'll just...
For playing that. Very, very kind of you. I think there is no more useful advice that any of us can give you people than what is contained in that song. Thank you.
So that video wonderfully put across the concepts of justice and righteousness that we should always keep in mind during our journey throughout life. And thank you so much, sir. And I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone when I say we feel extremely inspired right now by this heartfelt song. Sir, I would now like to call upon Parth Kulkarni, who's our editor-in-chief, to initiate the launch of VITTA, SRCC's finance journal.
Yeah, thank you, Vidya, and good evening, everyone. So every year from 2010, VITTA has been released as FIC's annual finance journal, and it's an attempt to curate the best content that we produce in 1 year. So this year's edition is obviously already very special because it celebrates 10 years of the finance and investment cell. But today it's also special in two more ways. The first one, obviously, that we have such an eminent personality like Murthy sir launching it. And the second is that it's also because of the prevailing situation that VITTA this year has been designed and compiled entirely online with all of us scattered across the country. So in a way, it's a fitting reminder that even though we have a 10-year long tradition, things can always change radically and we must do our best to adapt. So this year's VITTA has over 45 articles and is the first edition of the journal to feature inputs from reputed experts in a special section. From theory and hypothesis of game theory to takes on current economic issues, VITTA's endeavor is basically to provide food for thought in what we call a lavish 7-course meal. It's been a great, engrossing experience, a very fun experience compiling, editing, and designing this 10th edition of our journal. And we hope that it's equally interesting to read. Thank you very much, Principal Ma'am, for your constant support. And thank you, Saroj Ma'am, for your valuable inputs and encouragement. Thank you, of course, Sir, for being here today. And we are very happy and very honored to present the 10th edition of Finance and Investment Cell's annual journal, VITTA, for 2019-20. Yeah, I was muted for a bit. Sir, VITTA is an economics and finance journal after all, so I think it's fitting that there was a lag effect here. If you would kindly just say a few words.
Do you want me or do you want the principal?
No, sir, you about the journal.
Well, I have not read the journal, so it is not fair on my part to comment on the contents of the journal. However, I know that SRCC is a premier institution of finance in India, economics and commerce. It is a place where some of the best minds in the country in these areas come together, looking at a small sample of that, you, Vidya, and others speaking, it appears to me that not only are you people wonderful in your scholarship, but you're also very good in articulation. Consequently, you're very good in writing. Therefore, I have no doubt at all that VITTA would be a very, very useful contribution to the finance scene in the country. I am positive that there will be a lot of issues that concern the current economic and financial scene in the country. Because unless you discuss what is happening around you in the country, in your classroom, in your articles, you will not be able to bring value to the country through your scholarship. I was reading the other day this wonderful biography of Dr. Ishar Ahluwalia called Breakthrough. And she talks about how at the Delhi School of Economics, when she was a student, devaluation class. So she was very much surprised. Of course, from there she went to MIT, did her PhD, a wonderful PhD and all of that. So my request to every one of you is that articles of VITTA, like hopefully you have done this time, please discuss solutions to the problems of the contemporary India. That's what I would say. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm indeed honored to be amongst you people because, as I said, you're the most precious asset of India. There is nothing more precious than the assemblage of these wonderful, bright, young minds. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for those.
Before the teacher in charge comes in and says a special thank you note to sir, allow me to supplement to sir's opinion and observations on VITTA. So we are very happy to share with you that discussions and deliberations are always at the forefront at Shri Ram College of Commerce. Our students try to apply the concepts which they have learnt in the class as research articles, whether it is in VITTA or other publication forums. And the most positive thing about our students is not just to pose the problems, sir, as you mentioned, but come up with possible solutions as well. So they are understanding the concerns and they are trying to address and also provide a resolution to the concerns and issues. And we all understand that India being an emerging economy, there are still several challenges: unemployment, inclusivity, and as you mentioned, transportation, power sector, infrastructure too, and competition and productivity. I think most of these issues they have dealt in their finance activity and competition, and remaining sustainable in a globalized world is what my students are aspiring. And we assure you, sir, students of Shri Ram College will imbibe the qualities. I thank you for putting up that video. Nothing is more appropriate as a passing line from a person of your stature to pass it on to the staff. I think a book, sir, on productivity and how things have changed was the pioneer in terms of classroom teaching, whether at the at the PG level in the industrial growth. We all respect her, and my students are, in addition to your work and your strategies, most well-respected other research papers are also a part of the course curriculum. Thank you once again, and I request my teacher in charge now to formally give a vote of thanks to Mr. Narayana Murthy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible? Thank you so much, Narayana Murthy sir, for such an enriching and insightful and a wonderful session. It was a pleasure listening to you. I mean, you are truly an inspiration for all of us. And I can't thank you enough for sparing your valuable time for us. And a very special thanks for that special video by which you have given a very important message to all of us. College of Commerce, we're really honored to have you amongst us. I would also like to thank our Principal Madam, Professor Samrit Kaur, for her continuous support and guidance. Thank you so much, ma'am. It would not have been possible without your support. So you are truly a pillar of strength for all of us. Thank you, my FIC team, my dear colleagues, and all the participants for attending the session and making it special. It was lovely to have you all with us. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Heartiest congratulations for VITTA.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I will log off then.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You,
a pleasure. A pleasure, sir.
Thank you.